Yeah, I believe we are live. Uh, just verifying the stream is starting. Yep, there I am. Okay, so welcome to the stream. We are only two people on the panel tonight. From what I can see, only two people watching. So it's very crowded stream. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll have just a short stream, me and Don. If somebody else is joining in, I will carry on. But let's see how it goes. The topic for tonight is CAD programs and what we use and what we are doing in those programs. And I set up a few or open up a few models in Fusion 360 that I can show you. But let's turn into an introduction. So, Don, you're up.
Yeah, I'm Don, the German 3D print nerd, and my specialties in printing that's more or less science fiction and fantasy. And you can find me on Facebook and once in a while in Twitter.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm Martin. I have a channel called 3DP Iceland. I do all sorts of stuff on my channel, maybe most famous for my landscapes that I print out and paint with acrylic paints. I started to play around with airbrush on the landscapes as well. This is one example I've done quite some time ago, but I'm doing that. And recently also I've been doing quite a lot of Star Wars models like this one. And you can see here behind me I have X-Wing and several other models that I've been doing. And do filament reviews and maker box unboxing and tests of each filament from the maker box. So a little bit of everything. And sometimes I do CAD tutorials and model stuff that I have to use and do videos on that. So that's me. So yeah, so for tonight the topic is CAD software, and if I would have more people in the panel, I would ask everybody what they're doing, what programs they are using, and what type of models they are using. So Don, do you have any experience with CAD software and 3D printing? What do you use?
Well, I have Fusion 360 installed, and I must say right now I'm still a beginner. I mean, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, and some of that stuff does go over my head, but yeah, there's a lot of things that I still need to learn before I start trying to make my own stuff. But most of the time when I need something simple, I just use Tinkercad online.
Yeah, I haven't really used Tinkercad. I opened it up and such, but I've been using Fusion 360. Way back, I was using 3D Studio, and that was way back so much it was a DOS program, and 3D Studio Max as a Windows program later on. So I'm coming from that background. Fusion 360 was a logical step for me to do parametric modeling and such. And using a program like that was very easy for me to pick up.
I think a lot easier for you too.
Yeah, I have, because I've been modeling in 3D for 25 years or so. On and off.
Most of the time, well, let's just say back in the 90s and in the early 2000s, I was in the 2D.
Yeah.
With sign making and large format printing.
Yeah. I was using for 2D art. I was using Corel Draw. That was a program that I had way back.
I know Corel Draw from version 1.
Yeah. Okay.
And from version 1 to version 5, I was an official Corel Draw instructor here in Germany.
Yeah, okay. So you were like an expert on that program.
Yes.
Yeah, I use that for logos and there's all sorts of graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's interesting with all that, you can export your designs from Corel. You can export that into Fusion 360, and then go from there.
Yeah, you can if you can export into shape files or DFX files or
See CAD files, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then you can import them. I got a question from Stefan. How old are you? I'm born in '75, so I'm 43.
Martin is the young one.
Yeah, but I've been using programs like that for quite some time, and Fusion 360 was really natural for me to do because I was drawing out also maps using mapping software for. I've been doing that for like almost 10 years, and having scale, doing everything in scale with entering numbers into when you like draw in Fusion, you enter how many millimeters each part is when you're drawing it out. So that type of workflow, doing sketches and then extruding the parts out with sketches felt really natural to me. So yeah, Mike is saying a Corel Draw is a Canadian program. I didn't know that. That's
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, and as of late, I've been using Adobe Illustrator to create logos and such, and importing that into Fusion to extrude it as a 3D object. And I'm not like a Illustrator power user of any kind, but I managed to do what I need in it. Yeah, so from that background, I opened up Tinkercad and thought, okay, there's nothing here that I can't do in my other mindset with because I found Fusion really easy to use, and for people that open it up and don't know what to do, it's like a sketch based. You start with a 2D sketch and create a shape, and then you extrude that into 3D. That's the main workflow of it, and there are a lot of tutorials and videos on Fusion, both just doing whatever in Fusion, but 3D printing related tutorials like Angus Maker's Muse. He has like Cad for Newbies series where you can just start with a simple box to more complicated things in his video series. So I think it should be easy to learn the basics. You can do very complex designs as well, but it's I think very easy to make simple things in it. So that's what I've been using. There are other programs like OnShape. That was a program that some people used. Then I think they changed the licensing though, so you have to pay for it now. But I'm not exactly sure. And there's OpenSCAD. I haven't used that program. So there are a lot of programs that I was like searching and finding a list of programs that people were talking about on Twitter and online, and I think there are endless number of programs. So if we would have more people in the panel, we would probably get some more ideas of what people are using. Um, I don't consider like the organic modeling softwares like ZBrush and such as a CAD program. That's a modeling software that is totally different and has no like scale or references compared to a CAD program where you have measurements and such. But 3D modeling software is a broader scope. So like ZBrush and Sculptris and Blender. Yeah,
Yeah.
Blender. That's really popular as well. And you can
Yeah.
do like everything in Blender. You can do both organic modeling and also whatever. You can even edit videos in Blender. so that's a bit of everything in one program. So that's the program list I had in mind, and I want to ask people if they had experience with some other programs. And from the comments, I see most people are talking about Fusion, and I'm just reading through.
Yeah, I think Fusion is the most popular.
Yeah, I think.
And of course, if you register Fusion as a hobbyist,
Yeah,
you can download that and use it completely for free.
Yeah, if you're a student or a startup
Yep.
or a hobbyist, you can use it for free, and you have all the feature set, and
Yep.
it's not like a limited version. So it's really powerful for a free software. It's quite amazing that you can just start using it, and you have to, like, if you're a company, if you're under some amount of dollars per year in revenue, then you can have it for free as well. So if you're a startup, you can use that program and don't have to worry about licensing. So
Yeah, but I think that is pretty strange. They say if you're a company and you do not exceed, I think it's 100,000 per year.
yeah.
But, I mean, which company wants to tell a third party freely what he has in revenue?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
when
think
I had my own company, that was nobody's business how much money I was earning each year.
yeah, but it's an option that you can take advantage of if you're a startup. Of course, if you don't want to show what your revenue is, maybe they will say, okay, then you just have to buy the software. But
Yeah,
it's it's still a still option. And
Blender is very complicated.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Berthawks, all you have to do is just check out Ricky, the Tanner 3D.
yeah, he's using Blender.
He's using Blender, and every once in a while he does a walkthrough and shows exactly how he designed something.
Yeah. There are so many people doing tutorials on most of those software. You can, if you open up a software and you like the interface and find it like useful for you, then if you search online for videos and information, it's very common that a lot of people have doing tutorials.
Yeah.
Sometimes even very complex tutorials if you're an advanced user, and that you would maybe expect to like learn in a school setting or a course setting. It's amazing to see, like, with Fusion, how people are doing very advanced tutorials. It's I think you can learn online pretty much any of those software. Yeah, so yeah, Mike is saying he's using Illustrator for 2D and Rhino 3D and Lightwave 3D for CAD. I heard of Rhino 3D. I know Glenn at Funking use Rhino 3D, but Lightwave 3D, I haven't seen that software.
No, I haven't seen that either.
Oh,
ZBrush tells me something. Oculus Medium doesn't tell me anything. But yeah, Illustrator for 2D, Rhino 3D, I heard about that. Lightwave, I haven't heard about that. But ZBrush, yeah,
yeah,
that's something I've heard of.
yeah, Lightwave. That's yeah, okay. Babylon 5 used it. I thought Babylon 5 was using Maya, or maybe that was before Maya.
Uh,
Yeah, there have been so many, like the 3D programs used in movie and TV industry, like motion graphics. That's a quite number of programs that are, and usually they have like custom custom things. So it's a whole different story.
Lightwave 3D came along with the Amiga video toaster, old school.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I have to Google Lightwave 3D to see what comes up. Yeah, okay. I've never seen this program. It's current. It has a 2019 version and everything. So that's something that's not not very ancient. Yeah, yeah. Windows 3D Builder is actually quite powerful, says BritHawks. Yeah, I think I open up a model in the 3D Builder, but I have never like done anything in it. I haven't like done anything useful. But I think at some point I clicked open with 3D Builder and some model.
Since I've heard so much about Blender and Fusion, I installed both of them, but I think I'll probably learn more about Fusion before I'll learn enough in Blender.
Yeah, I have Blender installed at some point. I think I found
Have you tried that out?
I didn't do anything in it. I found it the interface be totally unfamiliar, and I was just I don't have time for this at this point. I never did anything with it. So, but I'm sure if I would decide to try it out, I could learn it as anything else. But yeah, it was. It didn't click right away with me, at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's sometimes with programs, if you, even though you never used the program, you open it up and you right away feel comfortable with the interface or how it's structured, you tend to get stuck on that program and learn more. But like the first 10 minutes in the programs, the first impressions often kick you off it if it doesn't make sense to you how things are structured. So if you haven't watched any beginners videos and such, you can be thrown off quite easily, because normally those programs are quite powerful and have a lot of options and can be a little bit overwhelming to have million buttons and menus and you have no idea what to do. So, yeah, so I like how the structure of the menu system and such is in Fusion, and it has makes sense to me, at least. Yeah, Michael Castle is saying he only knows AutoCAD. You can't do 3D in AutoCAD, but does it make anything? Can it be exported as a STL for 3D printing? Like some programs, like there are some, I think, SketchUp, that you can create objects on whatever in SketchUp, but they don't export very clean STL files. So can you use AutoCAD to create STL files? Would be interesting. Yeah, CAD D DOS version. Yeah, the first 3D modeling software I used was a text editor, and I created models entering coordinates in text form, and then I used PowerRay to render the objects. So what I had to do is draw on paper the shapes and create coordinates on the paper and figure out how to enter those coordinates in text form and use DOS command line to render them with PowerRay. So that was my first 3D modeling. And I remember when I was sometimes in school where we had Danish lessons, and I was like 14, 15 years old, and I had no interest in Danish. I was writing down coordinates on my notebook to model programs, model some objects, and then I went home, entered the coordinates into the text file on my PC, and made the render. So that was my first 3D modeling with pen and paper.
Nice. Nice.
So that's a so if people are talking about old school modeling, I think the text based modeling is pretty much as old school as you can get.
You want to know how old school I can get?
Yeah.
Uh, Dean A1, large drawing board.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then you had a large piece of paper on there.
Yeah.
And then you had to draw your CAD object on the down right-hand side, and then expone it to the left side, showing the front.
Yeah, yeah.
Expone it up to the left top side, exponing the back.
Yeah, yeah.
Then to the right, showing the left.
Yeah, I've done those drawings in school.
That was the type of CAD drawing that I had.
Yeah, that's where I got started in school. With paper, and you had this big ruler that was like an L-shaped ruler, and you could move it around and with like an angle information. So if you would do sideways lines, or you could turn it, and I've done that. I didn't. It was a part of my. I was like maybe 16, 17-year-old at that time doing that. So,
which year was that, Martin?
Yeah, I'm born 75, so it was like 89, maybe.
I was already here in Germany.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's old school, old school way. Yeah.
Wait a minute, you was born in 75?
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus Christ, oh man. I got out of high school in 74.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah. Oh man, am I old?
Yeah. Yeah, but I thought, because we are just checking, I have several models opened up in Fusion that I wanted to show you guys. So
yeah,
I can do a share screen and show you what I've been doing in the maybe last year or so. So let me see.
Yeah, I'll mute myself so that you have full control.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah, here's my desktop, and here's my Fusion. This is a recent design I did for my CR10. I want to make a direct drive with a Bondtech extruder and the Mosquito hot end. And what I designed is a mount. All the yellow parts is my design. So here I have the bed leveling sensor from TS3D. Here's the part cooling fan and hot end fan and extruder motor. So this is a quite complex design. Here's like a cable guide that I made earlier to like a strain relief for the cable. So this was quite elaborate design. I had like a lot of trial and errors, and did several videos on this design, and it's become quite popular on Thingiverse. Here you can see in the history at the bottom, there's endless amounts of edits, and this goes on and on and on and on and on. I have quite a number of components in the design. I have all the screws, like you can see the screws and nuts and whatever. All the physical objects in the design are here. And like for the Bondtech extruder,
I do have to ask, how long did it take you to get to this point?
It was probably 1 month of doing this printing, testing, modeling. It was quite a lot of work.
Holy cow.
And there are, like, for the part cooling, I did several designs, and
That was back on the live stream.
yeah, and here's one of the designs, and there was a different types of fan, and there was a lot of different things trying out. So this was like the most complex maybe model that I've been doing. And here's a different alternative. This is a headphone stand or mount. On this side here is where I put double-sided tape. Then the headphones of my wife can sit on this part. So this is a super simple design. It's quite alternative to this design here, which is very complicated and a lot of parts and such, to a very simple part to solve a problem. My wife asked if I could create a small mount so she could have her headphones on the side of the bed on the wall. So I created this one. So this was very simple. Here's another design. This is like a small shelf. It goes like this on the wall. So there are 4 screws that goes to the wall. This is custom made for a certain piece that was needing a shelf in that exact size. So instead of going to IKEA or something and buy some shelf and cutting down the part, I just draw it up and made it custom to what I needed. Then again, here's another very simple design. This is like a door knob. It screws to the door. It's on my balcony door. There's just 3 screws that make it stuck to the door. This is just a smooth doorknob. I printed this one in ASA filament because it's outside. That's a simple design. Here's one of my most popular design. This is a GoPro mount for my Prusa MK3. I have this model on Thingiverse, as most of my models. It has been downloaded several hundred times, and I've got quite a lot of traction on Thingiverse on this model. I was doing this very early with just as I got the Prusa MK3. So
I think I'm going to have to download that too.
Yeah. So if you were searching for a GoPro mount on Prusa MK3, my design came up pretty early, so it got quite popular. And this one was a good exercise in
yeah, for all what I see on your design, that is something that a lot of people did not do, is put clamps on the side for the cable.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea there is because you have this moving around with the bed.
Yeah,
you don't want the cable to move around in the plug in the camera. So I created those things here to clamp on the cable. So this was popular. Here's a spool holder I did for my Prusa MK3 Bear upgrade. I was turning the Prusa into extrusion-based printer. This is like a 2040 T-slot extrusion. So this will snap on to the extrusion, and you can bolt it on if you want to as well. Then it will be like on top of the printer. So this can you put the spool here, and this clamps on the top extrusion. So that's one design here. And then again, this is a monument, and I draw up. This is actually a monument that is on my where I grew up. I grew up on a farm, and there is a monument there at the farm. I was wanting to create. Excuse me. I wanted to create this model, and actually, what I did is I drew this up, 3D printed, put on my Facebook, showed my relatives from that farm and that grew up there as well. They all wanted to get a 3D print as well. So I printed out this model, good number of this printed, and I paid up my Prusa printer in few months' time, just selling this 3D print to
Cool.
relatives. So it's just
Uh,
like an art piece, but still was very popular. So
what monument is that it's on the farm?
yeah, it's a monument. Like my great grandfather, some of his fellow farmers, they started like a it's not a union, but it's like a I don't know what's called in English. It was like they had you had like stores all around Iceland, and most of the stores were, because the Danish had much influence in Iceland. Many of the stores were controlled by Danish people. And when the Icelandic people wanted to have their own store, they created like um, a union of, or so, it's not union, but similar. Like every store owner in Iceland, Icelandic store owner, they formed a pact, to create a business so they could um, use their influence more together. That was my great grandfather was one of those guys, and that was formed at a meeting at the farm where he was. So later on, this was like 100 years ago. uh, uh, Later on, they decided to honor that system, and they made the monument. So
Cool.
And later on, he became a minister in the Icelandic parliament and whatnot. But that was unrelated to the monument. But all my relatives, of course, look up to this like head of the family back in the day, and they wanted to have this monument as well. So I created this one, and I have it here. I'm gonna switch over to the normal camera. So
Wow.
here it is 3D printed. So this one is a little bit big version, but what I did for most of the people, I print like this big monument and sold it for just a reasonable price, but I sold quite a lot of it. So like in a few months, I paid up my Prusa.
That is cool.
Yeah, so that was just a showcase of what I've been doing in Fusion 360, and I just want to share it share it with you guys. Yeah, Michael is saying he started exporting STL out of AutoCAD, and it seems to work for him, so that's cool. Yeah, Minnesota Maker was tuning in, so welcome. Yeah. So like you said, you're mainly just starting out with Fusion.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I could draw a box. I can get a circle. I can extrude that and stuff like that. But getting it into a complex object,
Yeah.
I'm not at that point right now. For me, if I have to make something complex, like for example, for my elder lighthouse, on the bottom, I want to make a switch and battery compartment for it.
Yeah.
And this is something that I was making in Tinkercad.
Yeah.
Because it went faster at that time. Now this thing's been laying around because I haven't had time to do anything. But I've got the STL file, and all I have to do is just figure out a way to import that into Fusion 360.
Yeah, you can import STL files into Fusion.
Yeah.
you have to. There's a process if you want to edit the file. It's a little bit clumsy process, and for an object like that, it's not very complicated object. What I do normally, if I have to edit an object, like if I download something on Thingiverse and I want to edit it or make an alternative version of it, I usually just pick up my Fusion 360 on the one window, import or open it up in another window, so I have it for reference, and I do measurements of the object, and then I just create it from sketches. So I'll replicate the object using my process in Fusion, but I'll have it the other object as a reference. And then it's easier to do modifications because Fusion is not very good at editing current STL files, because it will open up as just a bunch of triangles, and you can't like edit a whole face like you normally would do. So
okay.
It's so what and I can show you one example of a file that I did. I'm going to open it up just to show you, because it was maybe not very simple object, but still I just drew it up in Fusion.
Chris Johnson is saying, careful with auto welding stuff on imports.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like he has already experience.
Yeah. Let me see here. Here's it's a part of a ukulele, a 3D printed ukulele I did.
Yeah.
I had the STL files for this object, but what I needed was, because the tuners, they were a different size and didn't fit the original object. So I had to create some modifications, and also those screws were missing in that model. So there was like 3 or 4 changes that I needed to do. But instead of editing that STL file, I just created this object and maybe spent half an hour just doing this object. So to some people, this might seem to be a complex object, but I found it very easy to create. So I just had the other object as a reference. I think it's here's the mesh of the original object. I had that as a reference. Then here's my own version of it. So I just copied the object, and now I can do whatever in Fusion, because if you look at this is the imported file, you can see it's all the triangles. It's not, you can't like select this face and extrude it out. So it's you can import objects, but it's not so easy to edit them. So creating my own version of it, it's almost a replica of it. That was just easier for me. So so that's my process, is just creating a new model.
I see. I still have a lot to learn.
Yeah, and I find it great fun to maybe this is not the most quickest way. Maybe you can use Tinkercad to edit the STL files in a more efficient way, but I use every opportunity to use Fusion, and then I'll learn something and be more comfortable with it. And so every chance I get to create a model, I jump on that program and do my edits. So that's one way for me, at least, to learn, is to have a project in mind, and then use the program to do the object or whatever you need to do.
No, I find that really super. Yeah. What can be done?
Yeah, it's like when I was modeling in 3D Studio Max back in the day, I could basically create whatever I had put into my mind. I could create that in the program. I had like maybe 1.5 feet high stack of books that I bought with tutorials, and I knew that program in and out at that version it does at that time. So I had my mind was the only limit, so to speak.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
That's how I was back then with Photoshop and Corel Draw and stuff like that.
Yeah. So if you get to that level with a program you use, you find simple stuff very easy, and like the doorknob and the holder for the, like I have here, this is a holder for my headphones, and I have like a radiator here on the wall, and this small groove just snaps into the radiator, and then I put my headphones on here. So this is basically just one sketch that is extruded out to this level, and it's extremely simple. And if you look around my makerspace here, all fixtures for power supplies or power bricks or all stuff around like here's a spool holder, here's a TPU prints for filament, because I have this filament row here in the back. Turn the light on. So I have filaments here, and when I'm not using that roll, I have a guide here in the top, and then I put the end of the filament into this TPU print to store the end, so the end is not hanging around. So all sorts of small objects, making a small CAD file and use 3D printing. It's amazing technology.
Yeah, Gustner is saying, yeah, tutorials by Brad and Lars Christensen from Autodesk. Yeah, Lars, that's the main person that I always watch.
Yeah, I've used, watched some of his videos as well. He doesn't, his focus is not entirely on 3D printing. He's teaching all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe unrelated to making models for 3D printing, but he's like a very good source for Fusion 360 overall. And I found I always point out to Anker's Maker's Muse CAD for Newbies tutorial when people in the 3D printing sphere are asking where they can learn Fusion 360, because he's telling you how to design for 3D printing using that software as well, because like with overhangs and tolerances for 3D printing, and he incorporates the design considerations for 3D printing into his tutorials. So that's maybe if you watch Lars video, it's not very often he talks about 3D printing specifically in his design processes, because he's not necessarily designing for 3D printing. So that's maybe the benefit of Angus' videos. It's very focused for maybe our audience.
As far as you are right now, it sounds like you could start doing some tutorial videos too, huh?
Yeah, I've done several, like when I do some design projects, like for the extruder mount for the CR10. I did a part of that video was my Fusion 360 like showcase, and I've done. I'm thinking what it was the last time I did a Fusion video on. It was something simple I needed. It was a very simple object. I can't remember exactly what it was, and I created a small tutorial video for it as well. So I have like maybe 10 or so videos on my channel with like design videos where I show off what I'm doing in Fusion.
Desktop makes.
Yeah, okay. Desktop makes. I have to check that out.
Is that a YouTube channel for it?
Yeah, that's a YouTube. I think I've seen that channel at some point, but I'm not sure if I'm sub to that channel. Just taking notes.
Uh-huh.
Getting my windows back. I have so many windows open. I really need a third screen. I have two screens in front of me, but when I'm hosting a Hangout, I want to have the Hangout with people in the Hangout in one window. Then I have a YouTube window with a video, just to make sure the video is okay and it's not like when it starts. I want to see it start before we start to talk. And then I have another window with the chat. And then I have Twitter open because I'm sending people the link to the Hangout if people are joining in late or something. So there's a lot of screen space needed to organize the stream. Really,
How many monitors do you have in front of you?
yeah, I have two at the moment, and I like I got the. It's like this. This is the setup. So this is like the main monitor over here.
Just like me.
Yeah, and I have got myself a mount for the third one here, but I still have to buy the monitor. So it's quite a setup with a table here and the main camera over here that I use for YouTube recording. So it's quite a setup.
That's a nice setup.
Yeah, Mike is saying we never have enough screen real estate, and that's true. Like at work,
Yeah.
I have three monitors at work, and they're all like aligned in front of me. And if there's something, and I work in IT, and if I have a lot of like monitor performance monitors up, and some like log messages with if I get some errors or something. So I have a lot of updates on screen normally when I email and one on corporate chat a window and I'm always wanting. I want more monitors, more monitors, more monitors. So it's never enough. Uh, and I have like in my other room where I have my workstation PC that I use for creating the landscape maps for my mapping business. I have one 4K monitor and one like 2K monitor, very big as well, and then a third monitor up on the wall for processes that run in the background and all that kind of stuff. So you never can have enough. So physical space is a limitation for me here in this, because this is just a very small area of the living room. So I have to constrain myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Your video was like blacking out for a little bit.
Mine.
Yeah, yeah, but it's back on now. It was just a blank screen for a second.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's okay now. Yeah, and Chris Johnson is saying more and more 3D printers as well. And yeah, for sure. I have 3 printers here, and 2 Prusa printers. And this one I did the Bear upgrade, so it's a little bit different than a normal Prusa. But this was MK3 printer. This is a MK2S printer that I upgraded to 2.5. Then a CR10 that I've done a lot of modification on. And those 3 printers are all the printers I can have in this area, because at the end of those shelves with the filaments and this table here, this is the space I have. It's like 2.5 meter by 2.5 meter with the desk I have here. So this is just a corner in the living room. Then there's a sofa and TV and all that, and so I'm very limited in space. But, I made myself a pretty good makerspace. nevertheless here, I think.
Oh, well, I have to find a new apartment before I can really get everything set up for my makerspace. Because right here, I do not have enough room.
Yeah, and how's the Hypercube printer coming along? Is that missing parts?
No, I've got everything here. I've even, oh, and no, yeah. It's good that I did not buy that extruder that was in Amazon.
Yeah. Okay.
That was from a China idiot. Yeah. And I found it in eBay. It came like this in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when everything is done, it looks like this. And you're wondering, huh? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do I have two? Well, strange.
Yeah.
Ordered this in December. In February, it was not here.
Yeah.
Then I notified eBay what's going on. And then all of a sudden, they said, okay, well, we'll send you per express a new one. This one came a week later.
Yeah.
And 1 week after that, this one came.
Yeah. Okay.
So now I'm sitting here with two of them.
Yeah.
And this only costed, I think it was around 13 euros.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Without the motor, without the NEMA 17.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I've got that. All I have to do is just get some blue filament because I have to print some parts to mount everything.
Yeah.
But, you know, my head, at this time, I didn't really have the nerves, or how should I say, you know, to work on that Hypercube because of other problems.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as I can get that problem out of the way, I think I have enough free space in my head to where I can start getting back to that project and other stuff.
Yeah. And do you have to design that mount for the extruder on the Hypercube, or is it a?
This one has a mount with it. Yeah. The only stupid thing about it, when you take a look at the mounting screws here, and then you take a look on the inside, that's for like a M3 or M4 screw. But if you want to put an M5 screw in there so that you can mount it with the hammer nuts onto the frame.
Yeah, with a T-nut on the. Yeah.
What I don't know how this is going to be done because this is all one piece, you know. So I think what I have to do is just design a second plate.
Yeah.
That's wider, then glue it together or put a couple of sink screws into it, you know, mount that onto the plate, and then the other plate is wider and has M5 holes in it and enough room for the screws to go in.
Yeah. You could do that, and you could also, if you have M3 like plastic, no copper or brass inserts, and if you design the plate with the 5mm screw holes for the extrusion, and if you melt inserts into that part for 3mm, you can push them in and do it that way. Then it could be a very small design.
Yeah, I need to get us you know, something like a set of those insert screws, you know, where M2, M3, M4, M5 inserts
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
But
like 10 of each one.
yeah,
I
and
need,
then
I
you
need,
use your soldering iron to heat it up and melt it into the plastic.
yeah, I need to find something like that in eBay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They're very cheap inserts, so you could get like 10 pack or whatever, very cheap. So uh, um, I've used it a few times. I really need to get more. I just I found like I think it was M4 uh, inserts at my local hardware store, and doesn't make sense to buy it at the hardware store. I should just get it on Amazon or something. in,
Yeah,
in,
the
in
problem
more.
I have is my hardware store doesn't have anything, for modeling.
Yeah,
You know? So I have to go to eBay or Amazon to find my stuff.
yeah. In most cases, myself also.
Yeah.
I haven't. Uh, there's there's there are some hobby stores for my that work well for my, like when I'm doing the painting, with supplies for painting and all that stuff. But like all those smaller M2, M3, M4, different lengths of screws and all that.
Yeah.
It's at the local hardware store. It's for building houses and such types of hardware. So it's not those tiny screws and
You mean something like this here?
yeah, something like that. I really can't find like a box of all those types of screws at my local hardware store.
Nah, this is something you have to get either in eBay or in Amazon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the same here for me. I have several boxes of those.
Yeah, but and I did get the pulleys, the small wheels for the GT2 belt with teeth.
Yeah, the pulleys. Yeah.
Yeah, I finally got those and changed those out so that my belts are safe and secure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that all set up now. So all I have to do is just print some parts, some cases, so that I can start mounting and then start connecting everything.
Yeah. And you have the main board for the control
There.
board. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got that right here.
Yeah. What type of board is
This
that?
is the Large X. The Large X with the extra Wi-Fi and USB module.
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah,
haven't heard of
and
that type of board.
yeah, and the LV 8729 drivers are on here. The
Yeah.
8729 drivers, they can go up to 256 steps, whereby 256 steps, that's okay for CNC, but not for 3D printing.
Yeah.
But with the reserve, that those drivers are good. And this is all 32-bit.
Yeah. Okay. Does it run Marlin or Repetier or what does it? What?
I think it is Repetier software on it,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure. I have to power that up to see what exactly is on it.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with all the types of controllers and stepper
Yeah.
drivers and like I have the process with their NC boards and then the
And
CR10 with a CR10 custom board, but I've run Marlin. Uh,
that's the display.
yeah,
It's 3.5 inch, I think. Yeah, 3.5 inch.
yeah, okay. Is it like full color
It is
display?
full color. It is full color. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Something like a 7 inch or a 5 inch, that would have been better, but
Yeah, costs more.
oh yes. But the nice one about this one here, uh, you have all your connections for your stops, switches, 4 motors, 1 extruder, but it also has the connectors on it for ABL.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can automatically connect the ABL system to this board.
Yeah.
And it's already programmed for that.
Yeah. And have you got that already on the
No,
printer? Yeah.
not yet.
Yeah.
I do have one of those what are they called? The ABLs, you know, the ones that are on the one how that just measure the distance.
Yeah. Inductive sensors, or
Yeah,
yeah. I'm
yeah.
not sure if they're inductive, and then there are some other type. I'm not sure if.
Now this one, I think it's inductive because it goes down until it measures metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There
and
are.
I do have a second one.
Yeah. There. I think there are like 2 main types of those types of sensors. Then you have the BL Touch as well. That's like a physical pin
Yeah,
that touches. I
on
have.
the on the new one how D9 Mark II with the upgrade kit that you can buy,
Yeah.
you get a BL Touch for it.
Yeah. I've purchased a genuine BL Touch for my CR10, but I haven't put it on. I have the sensor from TH3D, and I created my mount that I showed you earlier for that, and I still have to create a mount for the BL Touch to play around with that one. and, and if I get into trouble with the current sensor, I'll probably move over to the BL Touch and create modification to the mount to get that to fit and wire it up. There are tutorials on how to wire up a BL Touch to the CR10, so it's not a huge problem. It's
That's
just I have to physically design the. Oh, excuse me. I have to physically design the mount for it because I have a custom mount for my extruder and hot end. so
Martin. Before I forget it, other question.
yeah,
You're going to Murph?
yeah.
When are you leaving?
Um,
When is that? The 29th of this month or next month?
oh, it's this month, and I'm leaving on the 28th.
On the 28th.
Yeah, and
Okay.
actually, I will be in the same airplane as Kat. So she is having a stop from Germany or where she starts. It flies to Iceland, and then with the same plane, we are going from Iceland to Chicago. So then we'll share a rental car from Chicago to Goshen. I think it's
Okay.
like a
When you
2-hour
in
drive.
Chicago, say hi from me to Chicago.
Yeah,
And when you're in Indiana, also say hi for me.
yeah,
Yeah. I was born in East Chicago, in
yeah,
Indiana.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And going through a couple of years of school in Hammond, Indiana.
Yeah, okay.
And that's not too far away from Chicago.
Yeah, okay.
You might even drive by.
Yeah, yeah. Goshen is a little bit east of Chicago, and a little bit south. I think it's like 2 hour, or maybe depending on traffic. I don't know. It's
Okay.
it's not so far away. uh, since I and Kat are arriving with the same plane, we are sharing a rental, and
Yeah.
that helps
Uh,
me with the cost.
Martin, if you see Vince,
Yeah.
He's going to be collecting stickers for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You might want to tell him, hey, the stickers that you have for Don, you can give them to me, and I can send them to him probably cheaper than you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I hope he gets one from Joel.
Yeah. Yeah. I have printed out quite quite a lot of maker coins, maybe 200 maker coins, like almost 100 of my Mr. Belly model. That's my channel's mascot. uh, so I printed out a lot of those. This one is printed in Protopasta Hi-Fi Blue filament. I really like this filament. It's super
Oh,
nice.
where are you? Oh, there you are. There you are. I know exactly.
Yeah, yeah, you have it.
Yeah, but you don't have mine yet.
No, no, I still have to get yours.
Yeah, there's mine. I'm not sure if you can see my figure on it.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
Okay, and when you flip it over,
Yeah, you have your.
yeah,
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, it was a
yeah,
little bit blurry at first, but I see it.
yeah, the German 3D printing nerd, and then I'm on the other side.
Yeah.
Skalda, not Skalda, Shom did this for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Stephen is asking if I get jams with the Protopasta on my MK3. No, I don't think I've gotten a jam with the Protopasta on my MK3.
Hmm.
Yeah, is that a common problem with the Protopasta? I don't. I normally it's quite happy with Protopasta filament, not having any issues. For let me check. I print. Let me see.
Are you using Cura or S3D, or which one? Which one are you using there, Martin?
I'm using Slicer Prusa Edition.
Uh-huh.
My Protopasta HTPLA version 3 profile is printing at 225 degrees. You have to print it quite hotter than a normal PLA. So I don't know if that's the problem people are getting. The HTPLA needs to print quite hot. So
Yeah. I mean, that's the reason why they call it HTPLA. The HT, but it means high temperature.
yeah.
Not only withstanding high temperatures, but you have to print it with higher temperatures.
Yeah, and I think they say if you anneal it to some degree, it will withstand a little bit higher temperature.
Yeah.
But I've never done any tests on it. But yeah, with those temps, I haven't had any issues. So I don't know if people are maybe using normal PLA settings, then they get jams because it's there's something in it that needs more heat.
Did you see my video where I got a filament delivery?
Is it a recent one?
Yeah.
No, I'm not in the last weeks or so. No, I don't think so.
From 3dprima.com.
Yeah,
and
they are in Sweden, right? I think.
Yeah. He sent me a little bit of filament to review. But what's really nice, and I finally found a vase that I can use to print.
Yeah. Okay. So rainbow.
A nice rainbow filament.
Yeah. Show it a little bit more. I want to see it. Just so short of time.
There you go.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like a rather short amount of each color, so you don't have to print like a very huge print to get the transactions.
No. I mean, it goes from yellow to orange to red, purple, green, and then starts over again. Yeah, I think there's something like 5 or 6 different colors.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try and print a bigger vase, taller one, to see how many colors I can get out.
Yeah. I was doing was quite. I'm gonna find it. I've been playing around with a palette too.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna find
Yeah,
two.
how's it going with the palette?
I'm really happy with mine. I haven't. Uh, there are some like perks to it, but I have great experience with it. And
Cool.
here's a vase that I did, like a 4-color vase with like random mode. And
That looks super.
then I did Mr. Belly in uh, like a like a 2-color random mode, and I was doing I think 8 at the time, so each transaction was covering all 8 of those guys. So for each print, it was a very short uh, area with each color. Here in the body part of it, it used more material, so it's maybe difficult to see.
Yeah.
The lines are very tight together, but like here on the head and the legs, it's like stripes. so
That looks cool.
so it was coming out pretty nice. I was just playing around.
Hey, Martin, save one for me, just in case if you happen to send me anything.
yeah, yeah,
Save save one for me.
yeah. And here's like a box full of Mr. Bellies in Protopasta Haifa Blues. There are probably 100 of them. So it's quite good fun doing those.
You're going to
And
be taking all of those with you?
yeah, here's a box full of maker coins, and I have another box full of maker coins as well, Mr. Bellies, and then I'm bringing over 20 or so of those landscapes I've been doing. So
I think you might want to sell those landscapes.
no, I'm gonna give them away to people. I, like when I went to the States for Earth, I had I think 12 landscapes.
Yeah.
That I gave away, and now I'm having 20 landscapes to give away. And I have I'm creating a list of people that I want to give away a landscape directly, and I've sent also direct to people, like I sent you
Yeah.
landscapes. So and I was thinking of people that I wanted to give away, and I was starting to forget because I think I've given away probably 30, 35 models in total over the last 1.5 year. So I didn't keep track of everybody's names when I was giving them away, and I was trying to think of I think I've given this one, and I even gave Glenn Fun King. He has 2. so so that's that's something I have to keep better track of who has gotten a landscape. But
I think you need to make a list, huh?
yeah, but it's good fun. I love doing the landscapes, and
Yeah.
I do them. I've done them on like a time lapse video on my channel with them, and also done live streams with the paints. And I find it relaxing to paint maybe 1 or 2 or maybe 3 maximum in one go. And doing a live stream for maybe 1.5 hour or like a 2-hour stream.
Mm-hmm.
For just painting and just chatting with people. Maybe have 8 or 10 people in the chat talking to me while I paint, and it's great fun and very relaxing. So I enjoy it. So
Oh, yeah. I still have a lot of painting to do myself.
yeah, I've done like I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of the Star Wars guys. Here's my latest one. C3PO with the red
Hey.
arm. That was quite good fun. It came out pretty good. Spent a lot of time sanding this guy. And the one before that one was Boba Fett. This one here. So
that looks cool.
this one took a while to do all the paint and weathering, and it's crazy good models.
That looks really cool.
And so there's like you can see the models up here, and X-wing and
Oh, yes.
S2, D2, and TIE Fighter, and lot of stuff.
Make them printed bigger on the FK1.
Yeah, he could probably do a quite big landscape on the. I've done in I think 2 cases printed out like 2 or 3 plates like this and glued them together to create a bigger landscape.
Uh-huh.
But normally each landscape is just an area that I print as big as I can on my CR10. I got the CR10 primarily just to print the landscapes bigger than I could do on my Prusa printer. So it's good fun. Yeah, in regard of selling the landscape models, I sometimes get requests of doing a area for people here in Iceland, and I've done maybe 3 or 4 by order, so to speak. People
Are they asking for a close-up from the area?
yeah, for maybe an area they grew up in, or like their farm area or something.
Cool.
And then I agree on the area to be printed and do the print and paint it and sell them to people.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Done that in several. Now I have I'm gonna just get it. Wait a second. This one is actually drying out. I was painting the blade on this one. It's a commission job as well. So it's a sword from the Mulan cartoon or stories. So
yeah,
this is a model that I was printing out, and now I'm painting.
Where did you find that model?
This one was on Thingiverse.
On Thingiverse?
Yeah, and it's pretty close design to the one in the cartoon on the movie. So it's pretty accurate. Yeah, so I'm doing that for commission.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's always nice to get some funds back to buy some more stuff. Yeah, Matt is asking. Yeah, I saw the 8-color attempt on the palette. I saw the tweets. If you other guys don't know what he's referring to, he was doing a color swap while printing on the palette. So even though palette has 4 inputs and is designed for different colors or materials, he was changing out the colors mid-print, so to speak. So he could create a 8-color model, and it worked out for most parts, right, Matt? I think
I gotta check that out. That's a video I probably missed.
Yeah, I think he just posted pictures on Twitter. I don't think he did a video on it. So
yeah, come on now.
It was
something like that. You got to do a video of.
Yeah, it was a very cool project. I think he had some problems, but there was like in one of the areas there was supposed to be a different color, but so yeah, Matt can maybe collaborate a little bit on how I did it actually. it was
not exactly, huh?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you have to explain, Matt. If I just saw the pictures on some of your tweets, so that was what I read out of it. You were doing color swaps, but let us know what you did. But people have been talking about uh, having a palette feeding another palette. So you could do multiple colors. Uh,
Okay, if somebody has the money to get 2 pallets, so
yeah,
because I mean 1 pallet is expensive.
yeah.
Martin, you were going to get the MMU, or do you have it already?
No, I was deciding between the MMU2 or the palette, and I decided on the palette.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, I was like talking to people and making my opinions on it, and then
Yeah.
the palette 2 came, and the MMU was announced. So it was like a both of those two products was announced at similar time, and um, yeah,
Okay.
I decided.
I still think the pallet 2 is the best choice.
Yeah, I was thinking because I could use that on my CR10 as well on my Prusa, and like at some later time I get some whatever printer, and then I can use a palette for that one.
Yeah.
So that was maybe the main deciding factor on going that route. Except I think I, after the fact, I think people are getting quite a number of problems with the MMU, but at that time there was no experience on it. So I think after the fact, the palette was a good choice because at least in my case, the palette has been working quite well. I had uh, like because the filament has to go through the system quite steep bends. If you have a brittle filament that is maybe dried out or old or whatnot, then it breaks rather easily in the filament path. So you have to have good filament, and
Yeah.
also it's the splice core where it melts down the ends. It's quite tight tolerances on the tubes. So if your filament is out of spec, like uh, more than 0.5 plus minus, then it can get stuck in the splice core. So you can't use maybe cheaper filaments on that one.
That means you have to be careful there, huh?
Yeah, and I have had like I was using some old filament that was turning very brittle, that was constantly breaking and jamming up, and then I moved on to a fresh filament supply and didn't have that problem. So and those were all expected. The palette mosaic manufacturer was telling you had to have good filament. Um, and you have to have a printer that is working okay. If you have a problem with the printer, it's not going to make your life easier to put a palette in front of a printer that is giving you trouble, because it will only complicate things. And when you start to make the filament and the printer has a problem, you have like a meter long strand of filament that you can't use because it has to cut the filament and you have to start again, and it's a time consuming process to restart and all that. So have a good working printer and decent filament, then you're better off.
Well, I must say, last week, my head was straight enough and free enough. Buddy was here to help me out because turning a 22 kilo printer on its side,
Yeah,
and then holding it so long until you get the bottom off, and then you stick the card inside, and then turn it back up so that you can turn it on, and then do the updates and everything. But I got the first and second update done
yeah, okay, awesome.
on my One D9. So now, when any other update comes, I can do that through the the USB cable.
Yeah, so you don't have to go through that process again.
No, no,
Yeah,
not anymore. Not
yeah, okay,
anymore.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
that was even so. The first update, I had to do that, with the SD card in the slot where the touch screen is, and then after that, The second update was on the SD card stuck on the side.
Yeah.
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 And I must say, it's amazing, especially the bed leveling.
Yeah. So that is working correctly now.
It's not only working correctly, it's working super.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Because that was
Before,
giving you a really big problem earlier
yeah,
with all
every
all
time,
that.
every time when I wanted to do a print, I had to let the print start using the skirt, and then watch the skirt to see if it's sticking correctly, if it's printing too flat or printing too high. And then
Yeah.
I always had to do a on-the-fly adjustment with the 4 screws.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Because,
difficult to do with a 4-screw system if you
yeah,
can't do live C adjustment.
because the auto bed leveling wasn't working correctly back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think OneHow found that out really quick because the first update already corrected the auto bed leveling.
Yeah.
And then the second update turned the auto bed leveling into a mesh bed leveling.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And now, or let's say at first, I had a 4x4 grid
Yeah.
on the 300 by 300 plate, a 4x4 grid that it was testing. Now on this 300 bid, it's an 8x8.
Yeah. Okay. How
So
long does that take?
it takes a couple of minutes before the bed leveling is done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have on my CR10. I have 4x4, and if I try to do more than 4, then it runs out of memory, and I can't upload the firmware. So then, because I'm using Marlin 1.19 with my
Yeah.
own custom settings and such, and maybe I'm like enabling some features that take up memory, but
Yeah.
at least with the feature set that I have enabled, I can't go over 4x4.
Oh, I found out that the OneHow has Repetier software on it.
Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't have the same restraints as a CR10.
Yeah. But and what's really nice, before you had the manual bed leveling and the auto bed leveling.
Yeah.
Now you only have the auto bed leveling.
Yeah.
And it starts in the middle of the bed.
Yeah.
It starts in the middle of the bed. Then you have to adjust it with a piece of paper. And when you say next, it goes to the front left corner, and then it starts its 8x8 testing.
Yeah. So you don't do that. You do that occasionally. You don't do it for each print.
I did that a couple of weeks ago. Then I started printing all of the dark gray parts for my Ostmetzer battleship. And I printed a complete kilo in filament.
Yeah.
I think it's something like, I don't know, 15 to 20 parts that I've printed. Yeah. One after another. And the only thing that I have to do is just every once in a while, just check to see if the skirt is being printed correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do the same on my CR10. I just run the bed leveling every now and then, especially if I move the printer over to the stable and do some maintenance on it, or if I have a difficult part stuck on the bed and have to jank it a little bit, then I do it again. But normally now I just do it every now and then, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's not on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And Matt was saying the MMU now can be supported on all the Marlin printers, and so they are implementing the code into Marlin directly, I guess. So that's good.
And Derek is here in the chat. Hey, Derek.
Yeah, hi. Dell's logos.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he changed his YouTube name.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I have always problem pronouncing people's names. So sometimes when I like there are some words in English that I just don't make sense to me. so, so I have no idea how to say it. But
Yeah.
like some filament types, because with the maker box they send all kind of filaments and with all kind of materials and names. And sometimes when I'm showing that filament off, I just show it to the camera. This is the name of it. I can't say it.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, I had like one here. That's a flexible filament from Treat. This,
Pumatic. Pumatic.
this is the name of it.
Yeah, pumatic.
Yeah, I can't say this word. This is impossible for me to say. And I guess if I would,
I just wonder how they come up with such names.
like I typed in chat Icelandic word, and you probably can't say this word. It will be too difficult for you. But it's just what you get used to. Nomadic.
Nomadic. Yeah.
Yeah. Tony Ryan is making it simple for me. Nomadic.
Yeah. What a name. Yeah, there you go.
Pneumatic. Yeah. Yeah, but
Oh, thank God the filaments that I'm using, they have simple names.
yeah, you can see what I typed in chat. You can try to say that. It's a
holy cow. You want me to break my tongue?
Yeah. Yeah, it has Icelandic letters and all that in it. So.
Wait a minute, I gotta put my glasses on to read that correctly. Hornafjar Orjahilo.
Yeah, it's Hornafjarðarheiði. Hornafjarðarheiði. And
where's that?
That's the name of it. And what I enjoy with landscapes when I sometimes I'm finding an area, and I maybe find a mountain or some area that I want to print and select that. And then when I do, like I write on the back of it what's the area. When I'm sending it to people, and I always write it in Icelandic, and I usually try to find like a mountain or something in that area that has a very complex Icelandic name, and name the model that name. So people will have trouble saying the name of the model.
Yes.
So that's just for fun. And then people.
No.
Yeah, show me what model you have.
This one.
Yeah, Eyjafjallajökull. Yeah, this is the famous volcano that erupted and canceled all the flights.
Say that again.
Eyjafjallajökull.
No, forget it. Yeah. I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, it was quite funny because when this volcano erupted, it had very bad influence on flights to Europe for a very long time, and it was in the news. It was 2010 this happened, and it was in the in all the international news and
yeah. Well, that means I have to send this back to you, and then you have to put some red and orange colors into the top of it, huh?
Yeah, yeah, to make it an active volcano. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but we had like long YouTube videos of people trying to say the name Eyjafjallajökull, and people were saying it so wrong, and people on talk shows and even making fun of the name, and it was good fun for us Icelandic people to watch the news from the UK or USA or wherever. Nobody could.
Take a look in the chat what Chris Johnson just wrote.
Quadrol, yeah, this I can't say. Quadroti, yeah, no, I have to practice on that one. Yeah, Tony is saying, I thought the volcano was named Steve. No, we are not going to make it that easy for you guys. We are always going to have volcano names with terrible names just to make fun. It's always going to be we have a volcano called Hekla. So Hekla is a pretty short, simple name, but Hekla, yeah. So that's one volcano we have, but there's one volcano that is might erupt called Bárðarbunga, another one called Öræfajökull. That's two volcanoes that we have. Snæfellsjökull is one volcano.
How many volcanoes do you have there in Iceland?
We have like in the maybe last 2,000 years, we have maybe 20, 25 volcanoes that have been erupting in the last 2,000, maybe 3,000 years time frame. And we have volcano eruption every 3 to 5 years. They're very often the same volcanoes. Maybe like most of the eruptions are in the 5 different volcanoes happening. So
yeah, but there's nobody living around there, right?
No. There are normally we don't we get all, of course, the ash clouds and all that trouble, but it's very seldom that it interrupts normal daily operation for most Icelanders. There are, of course, some people that live nearby, and when, like with the Eyjafjallajökull eruption, that was under a glacier, so we had a big flood, and it took away some bridge and the road and such, but there was no like farms or anything that was in the way, because it's a known area for floods. So it's people don't live in those defined areas that are most likely to be hit.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. So, but we have some volcanoes up in the glaciers that erupt quite frequently, and normally we get quite a good flood with it. But then we have built up really big bridges on those pathways. So when we have a volcano eruption, the water we will have a flood, but for most parts the bridge is built in that way that it can withstand we say normal flood. So, but we have like maybe 15 or 20 years ago we had a really big one, and then it took away some bridges, and then they built a new bridge that was 10 times more powerful than the previous bridge or something. So there we are quite accustomed to volcanoes and such earthquakes and such things.
How can you believe it? Here in Germany, we finally, we had a tornado here. That was really a tornado.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's, I think that was in middle or East Germany. I'm not exactly sure. It just happened a couple of days ago.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But thank God it didn't go through the town. It went on the side of the town. There's only about 30 houses where part of the roof was taken off.
Yeah, okay.
Or big holes in the roof, or a couple of trees were taken out of the ground. Yeah. Now, one farmer was saying he was lucky. His house doesn't have any damage, but the barn does.
Yeah.
And a 300-year-old oak tree
Yeah.
was,
Okay.
was completely pulled out of the ground.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That. Yeah. Uh, yeah. I think the tornadoes are more common in the U.S. states
Yeah.
than in Europe.
Yeah. I mean, that was really unusual this time. But Mother Nature is acting crazy, if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah.
Last,
Tony Ryan is saying, I don't know, something is not normal about living next to a volcano. Well,
yeah.
Iceland is basically a big volcano crack in the North Atlantic ridge. There's a like a super volcano structure all underneath Iceland. So everywhere around Iceland, if we like, one of the benefits of the volcano is geothermal activity. So we just have to. We even have hot springs with just water flowing out to the earth, but to get hot water, we just have to drill a little bit into the ground, and maybe a few hundred meters in some places, and in some places maybe 2 kilometers down into the earth to get very hot uh, water. So we can use that to create energy, and we use the heat to heat the houses. So we get hot water from the active areas with geothermal activity. Like here in Reykjavik, there's one area that is like 40 kilometers or maybe 35, 40 kilometers away from the capital that has a very active geothermal area, and we have a power plant, and we have a holes to get hot water to heat the houses and swimming pools, and, and even some, like if you have steep slopes in the city, we use hot water in pipes underneath the asphalt to warm up the streets. So in wintertime, we don't have ice on the road. So we,
Oh, that is absolutely cool.
yeah, so we utilize the hot water, and
Yeah.
this is a side effect of having the volcano. So you can say it's like a hate-love relationship. You want the benefits, but you don't want the ash and lava and all that stuff. But that's something you can't choose.
Tony Ryan, cows don't need boots. Ground is always warm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and even this is a true story. In one of the active geothermal areas, they were digging down for steam or hot water for a power plant, and they hit a lava pocket. So they had they started actually a minor eruption up the tube. So they dug down into a lava pocket, or they call it. So that the drill bit was just melting, and when they pulled it out, they had a small eruption coming up with it.
They drilled too deep, huh?
Yeah. But, so they have to find the good place between the hot lava and the surface to dig down to a good amount.
Yeah.
To and that's one of the things. Iceland is in the forefront in the world of digging down, drilling down for geothermal energy.
Yeah.
We have companies in Iceland that operate all around the world, creating geothermal power plants and drilling and such. We have a lot of expertise in that area.
Oh, that's something I could use here.
Yeah, and we have basically found that uh, in Iceland, where they considered some areas like a cold area that was having no geothermal activity, they just had to drill a little bit more down, maybe 2.5 kilometers down into the ground to get to warm water. So basically, if it's maybe not. If it's just for one farm, it doesn't make sense. But if it's a town in the area that can pay for the cost of the drilling operation, they have made the hole and got hot water.
Yeah, that's something I need here.
Yeah.
I could save a lot of money each month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has its benefit, but like and like with volcanoes, it has become a tourist attraction to go to the area where we had the last eruption, and people go and see the newly formed lava, and they take a small piece of lava to their homes and have a story to tell. And,
That's something I wouldn't take.
yeah, and if you go downtown Reykjavik with the shops, with the tourist shops, so to speak, you can buy maybe they created some art piece out of the lava or something, and you can buy that.
Okay.
So it's good for the economy in most cases to have something happening in nature, because yeah, it's we have learned to figure out where the activity is dangerous and people don't live there, but in other places when it's not so dangerous we live there.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, at least you're in a safe area, huh?
Yeah, at some level there is a um, volcano like 35-minute drive from Reykjavik that,
Uh-huh.
that that is considered an active volcano, even though it hasn't been active in the maybe several hundred of years time, but
Yeah.
it is still considered an active volcano. Um,
Oh.
so
Well, let's just hope it sleeps.
yeah, yeah, it's the most dangerous one are the ones that are underneath the glaciers because of the flood risk. So if people are traveling in the area and there's eruption and the flood and people can get stuck in some places up in the mountains or something, that's the most acknowledged risk about the volcanoes is floods.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a little bit off topic of CAD programs. I was reading on the topic you stream CAD programs, and I've been talking about volcanoes for half an hour. Yeah,
Yeah, you have to expand that,
yeah,
and
especially
more about Iceland.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's when we are just two people in the stream, we are pretty quick to cover the topic. So
Yeah.
sometimes the topic lasts for 1 hour, and sometimes it lasts for 2 hours. But depending on how, if you are like 6 or 7 people talking about their experiences with CAD programs, it would be a longer on
Then
topic.
we have one.
Yeah,
Then we have a live stream that'll last 4 hours.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but we all lasted almost 2 hours just on our own, so that's good. I
Oh,
was about to cancel the stream just because nobody was coming on, and then you came on, and and we could carry on because I didn't want to be the only person.
to be honest, I just got the email. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was checking my emails. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay, chains and so on. And then I opened up Twitter because I knew, okay, I have to open up Twitter because there's going to be the link for the Hangout there in Twitter. Yeah.
yeah,
And sure enough, there was the link for the Hangout.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because normally we have the calendar where you respond yes or no, and if you
Yeah.
respond yes, you will get an email with a link. And,
Uh,
and,
okay.
and then beforehand I know, okay, we have this, people are going to show up and we can have a stream, but it's difficult if I have no idea if people are going to show up or not. uh, it takes a lot of organization to set up everything and do all that, and then having no one to show up, it's quite a disappointment sometimes.
Yeah.
And but that's how it goes. People are busy or sick or out of town, or it's a lot of reason people can't join in.
Yeah, the last one, I was too sick to join in on that one, but thank God you had a couple other people there.
Yeah, me and Kat have been on
Yeah.
several streams. They were two people on the stream the other day. I was in the States regarding my work, and I was unable to join. So Kat and Mia were two people on the stream. They
Uh-huh.
had good stream. They,
Cool.
uh,
Yeah,
no,
unfortunately, the U.S. stream, that's not possible for me.
yeah, I was more active before we started the UE streams. It's quite difficult, and like last time I was planning to join because I wanted to take part because we were talking about 3D printing for profit. I want to chip in my experience with like this model and several other models that I've done uh,
Yeah.
for profit. And I was trying to stay awake, and I've been having some stomach issues, and I was getting too tired, and I went to bed like really early to get some rest. And then at 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 hour before the stream should start, I was just I can't do this, and went to sleep.
2 o'clock in the morning, I'm totally uh, in dreamland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
now
Because,
now
I have to take one of these every night an hour before I go to bed.
yeah, I have the same. I have to take my medicine to sleep, and if I
Yeah.
do that, I won't wake up to do the stream. I was so I skip the medicine and try to stay away. And in the winter time, the US has a time zone change, so it's like 3 a.m. in the morning where it starts. But now with the summertime change, it's 2 a.m. and it's easier to stay awake up till 2, because when you start the stream and start to have a conversation, you get more active and more awake. But waiting from midnight to 3 o'clock, just waiting along and not doing anything, so to speak, it's difficult to
No,
stay awake.
no, I tried that one time. That was a couple of months ago.
Yeah,
I stayed up the whole night.
yeah,
Yeah. During the daytime, I had a live stream. I think that was with Mike on his channel,
yeah,
or I had the live stream. I'm not sure which. No, I think I had the live stream, and it went until some like 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening.
yeah,
And then we had the live stream. And then after that, there was another live stream.
yeah,
And then it was something like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
And at that time, I had, yeah, that was no, it was on a Friday to Saturday. It was on
yeah,
a Friday to Saturday. And Saturday morning, I had to be awake because I was waiting for a package from DHL.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Way the things go, 6 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. I was laying flat on the couch.
yeah,
So I thought it would be better just to lay down on the couch and sleep for a couple hours and wait until the doorbell rings.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. 3 hours later, the doorbell rang, and I was hardly able to get up from the couch.
Yeah, and Chris is asking what's the time. It's almost 10 o'clock in the afternoon for me.
And I have almost 11 o'clock.
Yeah, you're 1 hour earlier than I am. Yeah, so for the US stream, we start at 8 o'clock at my time zone, GMT 0.
Yeah. It's 9 o'clock for me, and that's roughly about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The now with the summertime, I think the East Coast is 4 hours behind my time zone. Yeah,
I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but they're talking about the time change that's going to be done in Germany this year. That's going to be the last one?
yeah. Are they skipping the summertime change?
Now they're moving to summertime change, and then it's going to stay there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
going to
So
stay there.
yeah.
There's not going to be any winter time zone change anymore.
Is it still winter time for you at this moment?
At this point, it's still wintertime, yes.
Yeah, okay. So you will be in the same time zone as I am in the summertime. It will.
I think, when is it? The end of this month, or March or April?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
April. I think it's in April, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Yeah, it makes life simpler, and they have been talking here in Iceland of changing the time because uh, with the position of Iceland on the globe, we really should be 1 hour later than we actually are. So people are saying this should be corrected, but people are not agreeing on if we should do it or not.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And
right now, Germany wants to do the time change when it goes from winter to summertime,
yeah,
and they want that to be the last change.
yeah. And are you then closer to your position of the Earth and Sun? Uh, is the summertime more logical
Yeah, yeah,
than the winter time? Yeah,
yeah. It would be more logical.
yeah. Okay.
It would be more logical. But the problem with what Germany is having right now, if they do the time change, then everybody else in the EU will also have to do the same thing. Otherwise, you're going to have, for example, 12 o'clock noon in Germany, and then it's going to be 1 o'clock as soon as you get into France,
Yeah,
or into Netherlands, or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
because they don't do the time change, or
yeah,
they'll do the time change, yeah, and keep doing it.
yeah. And you have like Central European time that several
Uh,
countries are in the same time zone.
yeah, Central European time. That is Greenwich Green Time.
Yeah,
Uh,
Greenwich Mean Time.
plus, yeah, plus 2 hours.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm GMT 0 at all times, so I have the same time zone as London in the summertime. But they turn to winter time as well.
Yeah. Then GMT. I think it's +1 for Germany, right?
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's difficult when like a lot of people that are streaming are in the States, and like the community catch up. If you see that shown on Apero Design's channel,
Once in a while, yeah.
and that is in the west coast, so that is like 9 hours difference from my location. So so
10
so
hours for me.
yeah, so that's completely off bounds for any normal time for me. So
For me too. That's something I have to watch after it's finished.
yeah, I could maybe uh, wake up really early, but I have difficulty waking up early, so so it's not very easy for me to wake up. But
You're not the only one.
yeah, I have trouble falling asleep, so I have medication to help me with that. Then I have trouble waking up. So it's a it's it's better to get some sleep than, because if I don't take my medication, I won't fall asleep.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I won't. I'm completely reliant on those medication.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I have the problem. I have to take that because first off, trying to fall asleep and then stay asleep,
yeah, yeah.
because I can't sleep for 6-7 hours. Yeah.
No,
I'll sleep for an hour, then I'll wake up. Sleep
yeah,
for 2 hours, I'll wake up again. Yeah.
yeah. I sleep maybe for 4 or 5 hours and wake up. And I was having a big problem, and now I have I was having an experience of waking up like I was suffocating. So my breathing cycle was not normal, and I went to the hospital, and they put some device on my face while I was sleeping and measured out my breathing pattern.
Yeah.
And they found out 25 times per hour I stopped breathing for more than half a minute. So I was basically just choking myself to death while sleeping.
My last boss had that same problem.
Yeah, and now I have when I go to sleep, I have put like a mask with an air pump. So I put that on my face and sleep with that, and then I can sleep maybe for 6-7 hours with that mask on. So it has helped a lot. But it's really terrible to wake up with a feeling that you're choking out. You don't have any oxygen in you, and you just have to think, I have to breathe to get your senses.
Yeah.
So.
The only problem that I have when I wake up in the morning is trying to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Not because I'm still sleeping, but because everything every part of my body is still stiff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, they're trying to, or my doctor is trying to find a clinic for me this year to go to.
Yeah.
That can correctly check me up and see exactly, is that Morbius Pisteris what I have, or is that the stiff man syndrome? You know, they're not sure.
Yeah.
They're not sure what I have.
Yeah, it's difficult to diagnose all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but what do you say? We have been on for 2 hours, and
Oh, it was a nice stream, I would say.
yeah, I'm getting a little bit tired. so, so maybe we should say this would be it for this stream. What do you say?
Well, I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay, so if you want to do your outro, tell people that are watching where they can find you and such.
Yeah. As y'all know, my name is Don. I am the German 3D printing nerd. You can find me here in YouTube. And for Donald US 57, you can find me in Facebook. And once in a while, you can find me on Twitter too. But if you want to contact me, the best thing is Facebook.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm Martin. I have a channel called 3DP Iceland. I'm on Twitter as 3DP Iceland, and everywhere where I am as 3DP Iceland. I do landscape prints on Star Wars props and all kind of stuff on my channel, filament reviews and such. So that's me. But for now, I think it's been a good time to end the stream. So I'll thank everybody taking part in the chat and asking questions and talking about whatever subject, and then just all kind of Icelandic volcanoes and and all kind of stuff we've gone through. It's been a good stream, I think. Even though we are just two people, we could manage to talk to each other throughout the stream. So yeah. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one.
Take care, everybody.